and other fun things for the kids. Find details and directions at www.easter@cc.com. Again, that's www.easter@cc.com.
I'm Hayes Carline. I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on radio. Listen to my closing argument presented by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell weekdays on The Frangie Show. It's like Matlock, but meaner and about football.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. I started my first business in the basement of a factory over 30 years ago. We had no heat and no air conditioning. Instead of customers, our office visitors were rats, birds, flies, and snakes. Our office flooded often, and we used blankets as our office walls. We were broke and needed customers. Years later, I formed my fifth successful business, Patriot Software, which has attracted tens of thousands of customers with our easy accounting and payroll software used by accountants and non-accountants alike. Go to patriotsoftware.com, use promo code RADIO, and get 2 months of accounting and payroll software free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. The sports world keeps spinning and the local conversation continues. Now, Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Glad you are with us on a Tuesday evening, filling in for Rick Ballou. This time next week, Ballou will be in this time slot. I will be 10 to midnight. Rick enjoying a vacation. I'm in for him all week long. All right, night number 2. They did not kick us out after night number 1. I guess that is a good sign. We got a ton to get into today. The Jaguars met the media. Trevor Lawrence, Shaquille Griffin, Travis Etienne all spoke to the media today. Travis Etienne made a little national news with something he had to say. We'll get into that in just a little bit. ESPN.com has an interesting college football ranking out that I think Florida fans, that I think Florida State fans, that I think Miami fans all may find fault with. There's a common uniting bond in this ranking among Seminole, Gator, and Hurricane fans. We will get into that in just a little bit. As far as guest-wise tonight, we are loaded. We're going to start in about, half an hour or so. Ryan Roberts from RiseNDraft.com. That's the letter N, RiseNDraft.com. Ryan's one of my favorite guys to talk about the draft. Maybe it's because he and I agree so much, but he has built up that website. It's a really good draft website. I would highly recommend it. And Ryan and I had a conversation earlier regarding Trayvon Walker from Georgia and Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. If you have the number 1 pick, which the Jacksonville Jaguars do, who are you taking? Walker from Georgia or Hutchinson from Michigan? I think you'll be very interested, very surprised in what Ryan Roberts had to say. He does this for a living. Certainly caught me off guard. That is coming up in just a little bit. Former Jacksonville Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor will join us early on in the 9 o'clock hour tonight. Clay Harbor spent, 4 years, I believe, here in Jacksonville. Also spent time with the Philadelphia Eagles, which means he played for Doug Peterson when Doug Peterson was an assistant in Philadelphia. Clay Harbor also spent time with Jim Bob Cooter when he was in Detroit. So Clay Harbor knows certainly a lot about Doug Peterson, knows a lot about Jim Bob Cooter. Translation, Clay Harbor knows a lot about the Jaguar offensive coaching staff. So we will get Clay Harbor's thoughts on everything, including his position, the tight end position. What does he think of the Jaguar tight end room, Dan Arnold and Evan Ingram? And then finally tonight, something that I think is very cool, something that I think deserves some time tonight. We will give it some time tonight. I heard the girls on Helmets and Heels talking about it earlier, and I echo their sentiments. Jazz Bond from the University of North Florida was drafted into the WNBA last night. She is the first lady from the University of North Florida basketball program to be drafted into the WNBA. I just thought that was a very cool story. So we will have Jazz Bond on in the 9 o'clock hour to talk about what that was like last night to be drafted into professional sports as she was. You know, it's an emotional moment. I left XL Primetime on Friday. Thought the guys just kicked me to the curb. Thought I was never going to see them again. Leon Searcy, Matt Hayes, Joe Cowart, J.J. LaSelva. But my goodness gracious, here we are, a little over 96 hours since I signed off in that emotional send-off on Friday. And ladies and gentlemen, J.J. LaSelva is here with me tonight on Hacker After Dark.
It's good to see you again.
JJ, it's been a long 4 days, man.
You look slim. You look like you've lost some pounds. Honestly, I've been crying profusely. I'm literally still crying that you've left.
You know what?
It does suck that you're gone. I'm not going to lie.
It's like I told him.
I'm going to see you every night.
Well, yeah, I'm going to see you every night because you're obviously into the night with Rick Ballou. It's like I told the guys on the videos. I said last night, I am thrilled to death to have my own show, to be able to do my own thing. No question about that. But absolutely, when you work with guys like JJ, like Matt, like Leon, and like Joe for over 3+ years, it will take some getting used to not having that back and forth, not having that dialogue.
Those inside jokes.
The inside jokes.
Just not the same without you.
I can imagine they're probably not with Mia O'Brien now a part of XL Primetime. I imagine they're not. Okay, the Travis Etienne thing. JJ, do we have that?
We do.
Okay, so Travis Etienne, earlier today, again, he met the media with Trevor Lawrence and with Shaq Griffin. And normally, when the first press conference of the offseason workout period is going on, you don't think it's going to make national headlines. Travis Etienne made national headlines. This is what he said, and he was talking about missing his rookie year, being injured his rookie year, and this is what Etienne said earlier this afternoon.
Nah, definitely. That's just the human element of it. Just seeing the results, you definitely like, whew, if there was any year to miss, I missed a great one. So,
if there was any year to miss, I missed a great one. A shot across the bow at what had gone on here in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, I would assume, and a majority of the staff that he put together in 2021. You know, that really brings something to light for me. You know, we came in on 1010XL every day. Leon and I did the fifth quarter after every 30-point beating last year, and it sucked for us. It sucked for you, the Jaguar fan. It sucked for us, the Jaguar media. Well, regardless of what you think, and if you don't like certain people on 1010XL for whatever reason, know this. There isn't one person that works for this radio station that does not want the Jaguars to succeed. There isn't one person at this radio station that doesn't want the Jaguars to thrive and be a winning organization. Winning is better for all parties involved for many, many reasons. Can we be critical? Yeah. Can we be negative? Of course. What has there been positive to be about over the better part of the last decade? But I think when you see what Travis Etienne said today, and when you see what DJ Chark did in that Athletic article, right, that came out a couple of weeks ago, that he was surprised Urban lasted as long as he did, it really puts into perspective that as awful as it was for Jaguar fans last year, and as awful as it was for Jaguar media last year, the players are the ones that dealt with it inside and out every day from January, mid-January, to when Urban Meyer was fired at the beginning of December. Every day there was seemingly some nonsense that happened. From the hiring of that strength coach that was let go from the University of Iowa for racial allegations, to putting C.J. Henderson on an exercise bike in front of everybody at training camp to embarrass the guy, to not going back with the team from the state of Ohio because you wanted to get your groove on at a club, to the incident with Marvin Jones, to Urban Meyer reportedly having that incident with Josh Lambo. Everything that happened, we talked about it, fans reacted to it, the players lived it. And I think it's very, very telling, and we might hear more as more guys get microphones put in front of them. You've already heard from DJ Chark. You've already heard from Travis Etienne. I think we're going to hear more as the days and weeks go on about how awful the situation was here in Jacksonville in 2021. That leads me to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence also met the media today. You know, it's a big year for Trevor Lawrence. We all want Trevor to succeed. We all hope Trevor is what we believe he still is, which is that generational quarterback, right? That once in a lifetime almost, once in a generation type talent at quarterback. Again, much like the football team, no one wants Trevor Lawrence to fail. We all want Trevor Lawrence to succeed. But there was cause for, some negativity, I think. 12 touchdowns and 17 picks left a lot to be desired. Some decision-making left a lot to be desired. Understanding he had zero help. I mean, when Marvin Jones is your best wide receiver, nothing against Marvin Jones, but a 31-year-old in his first year in a new organization should never be the best wide receiver on your team. So understanding Trevor didn't have a lot of help, but he looked bad at moments. Now, I will say he saved his best for last. The last game of the year, that absolute beating the Jaguars gave the Indianapolis Colts, Trevor Lawrence played his best game of the year. But this is a big year for Trevor Lawrence. I know it's only year 2. I know it's a brand new coaching staff, and you got to learn all the brand new terminology and another playbook, and so that's some odds that are stacked against him. But guys, look at the AFC. Josh Allen in Buffalo, I got news for you. He's not going anywhere. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, he's not going anywhere. Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City, he certainly is not going anywhere. Justin Herbert with the Chargers, guess what? He's not going anywhere either. So you got those 4 guys. Lamar Jackson, obviously, is in the conference. You bring in Russell Wilson, a future Hall of Famer. You bring in Matt Ryan, a potential Hall of Famer in his future. You still got the likes of Derek Carr. Deshaun Watson is in the AFC now. I mean, it is madness. So my point in this is we still think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a great player. But the competition he has inside his own conference, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, if you want to narrow it down to his division, I think Trevor Lawrence might be the best quarterback in the AFC South. He certainly will be in 2 years. I don't know how long Matt Ryan's going to be in Indianapolis. And I don't know if Trevor Lawrence doesn't improve as much this year and Matt Ryan regresses a little bit, that you might take Trevor Lawrence over Matt Ryan, say middle of the year, late in the year. Trevor Lawrence versus Ryan Tannehill? I don't know. I don't think it's a no-brainer that you would take Tannehill. I think some might take Lawrence. And even though Davis Mills beat Trevor head-to-head, I would still take Trevor Lawrence over Davis Mills. So Trevor Lawrence inside the AFC South is one of, if not the best quarterback, certainly will be in a year or 2, if not sooner, once Matt Ryan steps aside. But in the conference as a whole, it is going to be hard to win in the AFC when you got all of these young guns inside the same conference. When you could legitimately say that Deshaun Watson may be the 4th or 5th best quarterback in the conference when the season starts, that's crazy. Watson hasn't played, obviously, in a calendar year. But whether you take Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, Josh Allen, I didn't even mention Lamar Jackson, I mean, a guy the caliber of Deshaun Watson might only be 4th or 5th. Where does that put Trevor in the pecking order of the AFC? That's why it's a big year. Got to establish yourself. You got to show this year that you are what the Jaguars believe you are. And what they believe Trevor Lawrence is a franchise and a generational type quarterback. With JJ LaSelva, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. It is Hacker After Dark, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us on a Tuesday evening. The NBA playoffs are underway. The play-in tournament. JJ, I got on a soapbox about this last night. I don't mind the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. All 4 of those teams are basically in the same bracket record-wise.
500-ish. Yeah.
Right. Now, again, Brooklyn's going to wipe the floor with them because they didn't have Kyrie Irving for a large majority of the year. Durant missed some time. In fact, Brooklyn's beating Cleveland pretty bad now, right?
Absolutely. It's halftime. Kyrie has not missed a shot. Looks like they're going to win.
So Brooklyn is going to run away with us. I have a real problem with the Western Conference play-in tournament. Minnesota's 11 games over 500. San Antonio and New Orleans are like 10 games under 500. Yet both of those teams have almost as good a shot as Minnesota of making the postseason. Minnesota and the Clippers tip off at 9:30. We'll keep you updated on that. We'll also keep you updated on Brooklyn and Cleveland. Again, as JJ said, the Nets all over the Cleveland Cavaliers at halftime. Coming up next, more on the National Football League. Will Brinson of CBS Sports put out a mock draft today. And in his mock draft, he put about a paragraph opinion on every pick. And if you skim through it, if you just saw he had the Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson, you wouldn't think anything of it. Did you see this mock draft? Did you see the paragraph next to it on CBSSports.com? Will Brinson had something in that paragraph that really, really struck me. We'll bring it up next on Hacker After Dark.
More touchdowns, birdies, home runs, and slam dunks. More heartbreakers.
Every time you lose, you die a little bit.
And more victories.
And it goes for the win!
1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. We have talked about the number of homicides we have had. The one thing we have not talked about is the number of shootings. We have had 166 shootings this year. When a person is shot with one of these guns today, their life is practically ruined. The bullets are so big that whenever it hits, it tears that part of the body up. We as a community have got to come together and assist JSO to remove these individuals from our street. JSO cannot do it by themselves. They need our help. They were not there when it happened. Break the code of silence and tell what we know. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadJacksonville.com.
You know, I'm always bragging about the Blue Crab Crab House because it's my favorite restaurant in Jacksonville, period. And one of the things I really admire about it, it's a long-standing mom and pop restaurant. We're talking more than 25 years serving Mandarin. Hey, it's worth visiting from all over Jacksonville. It's my favorite restaurant. It's located right off of San Jose. You can never, ever, ever go wrong by visiting the Blue Crab Crab House, Jewington Creek Road.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Hey folks, it's Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Now, you probably heard me mention that errant golf ball that led us to replace our windows. And obviously, if I'm investing in my home's appearance and comfort, I want the best. Well, now my new Pella windows are installed and they look fantastic. And we've already noticed a difference in outside noise reduction and energy savings. So if you need to replace your windows or doors, visit my friends at the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
At Duck Duck Rooter, we understand plumbing issues aren't typically planned. With 5-star customer service, top-of-the-line workmanship, and emergency services around the clock, 7 days a week, our experienced team of 42 great employees are here to help. Duck Duck Rooter can handle all kinds of plumbing jobs, including repairing broken pipes, clogged drains, to installing new fixtures, water heaters, garbage disposals, and full repipes for older homes. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
You'll hear Pete Prisco, senior NFL writer for CBS Sports, every Friday on The Frangie Show, brought to you by Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Titleist, featuring the new Titleist Voki SM9 wedges, the most superior handcrafted wedge design ever. The new SM9 grooves are cut to maximize the interaction of ball and face for lower flight and higher spin. Get precise distance and trajectory control like a pro with the SM9s. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home with a 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
The Jacksonville RV Stadium Show is coming up. From Wednesday, April 27th to Sunday, May 1st, it's all about RVs, giveaways, and fun. Check out awesome products, demos, and catch a special appearance from Jackson DeVille on Saturday, April 30th at 11 a.m. and The Roar at 2 p.m. Happening in Lot J at the stadium in downtown Jacksonville. The Jacksonville RV Stadium Show, happening Wednesday, April 27th through Sunday, May 1st.
Here at Citrus Distillers, we're ready to pour one out in honor of the 904. After all, Jacksonville is bold, robust, full of distinct flavors that describe exactly why we're Duval till we die. And that's why Citrus Distillers, your local whiskey king, is proud to announce our official sponsorship of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So come visit us at the bar at 5-Star Arena. With your local whiskey king, it's 904 till you hit the floor.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. And this week for Rick Ballou. Rick on a vacation. He'll be back next week. And everything will get pushed back 2 hours. Rick's normal time slot, 6 to 8. I will be 8 to 10 with the exception of Tuesdays. Rick will be 8 to 10. I will be 10 till midnight. NBA playoffs underway. Cleveland and Brooklyn in one of the Eastern Conference play-in games. Brooklyn a 14-point lead as they begin the third quarter. All right, so mock draft season. Everybody does them. We comment on them regardless of who. You got Mel Kiper. You got Todd McShay. You got Daniel Jeremiah. You got Pete Prisco. I mean, you name them, they do mock drafts, and I love them. I'm a mock draft geek. I absolutely love them. Every once in a while, though, something will happen in a mock draft that'll strike you. But to me, Will Brinson this morning on CBSSports.com, and I think Will Brinson does a good job, and he's definitely piqued my interest. He has the Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson at number 1. All right, no real surprise there. That is certainly not what strikes me. Let me read to you the paragraph that Will Brinson put together. This is about the draft pick of Aiden Hutchinson for the Jaguars and his mock draft. There's still some thought the Jags could go Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal. there's also some buzz building about Trayvon Walker possibly going first overall. Listen to this. I think, this is according to Brinson, I think we could see Shad Khan get involved and push the front office to take an offensive lineman. But right now, Hutchinson still seems like he's the guy at the top. Whoa. I think, and again, Will Brinson, CBS Sports, throwing it out there. Quote, I think we could see Shad Khan get involved and push the front office to take an offensive lineman. You know, we've been talking about this NFL draft for months on end. That's what happened when the team you cover is terrible. All right? When they're absolutely awful and the season is basically over before it even starts, by Halloween, you are talking NFL draft. It's what you're doing. And I have heard so many different angles, so many different trade scenarios. We've had the Kevon Thibodeau week, Ike Ekwonu, Evan Neal, Aiden Hutchinson. Now it seems Trayvon Walker is the trendy pick. And it's all been fascinating, and I love every bit of it. But in all those conversations, at least that I've had, in all of those mock drafts that we've talked about and discussed here on 1010XL, I can't remember one where someone is saying Shad Khan might get involved and push the front office to take an offensive lineman. Obviously, to protect the franchise's investment on generational quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Would Jaguar fans care if the owner of the team got involved and pushed the Jaguars in that direction? What if Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson want Aiden Hutchinson? But according to this blurb in Will Brinson's mock draft, Shad Khan goes in there and says, no. Let's not do that. We need to protect 16 at all cost. I want Evan Neal. That's just an angle that I hadn't thought of. That's an angle that I don't think has been discussed very much. I would understand it from Shad Khan's point of view. That's the one thing Shad has really never done. He is not a football guy in the sense of a Jerry Jones or someone, like that. A Robert Kraft, if you will. Shad's the owner of the team. He has no interest in what the day-to-day operations are as far as signing players, releasing players, drafting players. You see all those videos that come out on Jaguars.com. Whoever the head coach is will call the prospect, and then they'll hand the phone to Shad, and Shad will be all happy for 3 minutes, and that's it. But I just really got this stuck in my head today when I read this morning when it said, according again, Will Brinson, I think we could see Shad Khan get involved and push the front office to take an offensive lineman. Certainly something to think about. As the NFL draft now only 16 days away, Thursday night, April the 28th. Speaking of the draft, I saw another piece. I want to say this was on CBS as well. They went through all 32 NFL teams, all 32 NFL organizations, and they singled out the most important pick in franchise history. Up to this point, the most important pick in franchise history. And with the Jaguars, that answer had been clear for the better part of 2.5 decades. That answer had always been Tony Boselli, the second overall pick, 1995, who is very soon going to be enshrined in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I'm reading this today. And why is that significant? Because the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence last year. Is Trevor Lawrence now not the most important or significant draft pick in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars? No offense to Tony Boselli. He had that crown for a long, long time. But I saw CBS this morning continue to say that Baselli was that guy, the most important pick. I totally disagree with that. To me, it's got to be Trevor Lawrence. He is absolutely, to me, without a shadow of a doubt, the most important pick in the history of the franchise. And the Jaguars for the next decade plus will live and die with what Trevor Lawrence does. If Trevor Lawrence, like we said in the first segment, if he is who we believe he is, the Jaguars will be sitting pretty. If Trevor Lawrence is not who we believe he is, that will be a devastating, and I do mean a devastating blow for this organization. Not to put too much pressure on Trevor Lawrence, but it is what it is. I mean, the guy, when you're the number one overall pick, when you're referred to the way Trevor Lawrence was referred to last year, you kind of made your bed, now you got to lie in it. I mean, the pressure is all on him. And look, they've surrounded him with some pieces now. Last year, I don't believe he had very much. I think he's got some things now. I'm happy about Christian Kirk. I'm happy with Zay Jones. Zay Jones was a little bit of a surprise, but when you combine him with Christian Kirk, I'm totally fine with that. I'm over the top about Evan Ingram. We're going to have Clay Harbor, former Jaguar tight end, on in the second hour tonight, and I'm going to ask him specifically, Evan Ingram and Dan Arnold, how would you assess that tight end room? To me, those two guys, that's the best tight end room the Jaguars have had in a long, long time. What I saw from Dan Arnold in a very brief amount of time last year, I was thrilled by. Now you add a former first-round talent in Evan Ingram. So, look, the Jaguars have given Trevor some options now. When you're in and by the way, that's not even bringing up the fact of Travis Etienne. We have no idea what Travis Etienne can do on an NFL football field when healthy. So that's like adding a free agent as well. So you've added Evan Ingram, you've added Zay Jones, you've added Christian Kirk, you've added Travis Etienne, you've added an all-pro offensive lineman in Brandon Sheriff. You've done some good things with that Jaguar offense. Jaguar defense, on the other hand, we talked about this last night. If you missed it, go to Jaguars.com. Pull up the roster page and look at the inside linebackers. They have a problem at inside linebacker. Other than Olakun, I believe, Olakun, the leading tackler in the NFL last year. Other than him, and I guess Shaq Quarterman, there's just not a lot of guys at the inside linebacker position that have done very much in the National Football League. What about the defensive line? They added Arden Key. You got DeJuan Smoot. You obviously have Josh Allen. But I got to tell you, what the Jaguars were able to do this offseason on offense, to me, far surpasses what they did in the front seven on defense. That's why I'm still an Aiden Hutchinson guy. Or maybe even Trayvon Walker from Georgia. I'm up to having that conversation. But one of those two. Because I think you've improved on offense. I'm not sure if you've improved on the front seven on defense. I think on the back end you got better. I like Darius Williams. You team him with Tyson Campbell, Shaq Griffin, Rayshon Jenkins, Andre Sisco. I think you got something brewing back there in the secondary. I'm just a little bit concerned about the front seven here in Jacksonville. That's why, to me, a defensive end in the first round, an inside linebacker, absolutely no later than round 3. That's, to me, where the Jaguars need to go in 2.5 weeks during the NFL draft. With J.J. LaSelva, the hacker Ryan Green with you. It is Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday night here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up next, one of my favorite draft guys to talk to, Ryan Roberts. If you have not been to his website, Rise and Draft, that's the letter N, riseanddraft.com, does a great job. He's got a mock draft simulator. They have tons of scouting reports, analysis. I love it. We'll have Ryan on. We'll talk about what the Jaguars should do in 2.5 weeks. And I'm going to flat out ask him, if it was up to him, if he was making the number 1 pick in the draft, and he had Trayvon Walker, and he had Aiden Hutchinson, Who would he take? A guy that covers the draft for a living, has been doing it now for a few years. Who would he take? His answer really surprised me. I think it's really going to surprise you as well. That's next on Hacker After Dark.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Let's don't get emotional about it.
No! Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. The Drill.
You're a big baby. Barely raised my voice. I should call your mother.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
What do I love about Patriot Payroll Services? What don't I love about Patriot Payroll Services? It's easy to learn, it's very user-friendly, it's fast, even for a first-time user, it's perfect for our business, it's affordable, and it's been a great experience so far. We have no plans of changing.
Easy to learn, easy to use. Small business software tailored just for you.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Years ago, when Harrell & Harrell was growing, we had a decision to make whether we were going to grow into the state or even beyond. And we decided that we were going to stay here in this community in Northeast Florida. It's staying here and not looking at where's the next place that we can go or how can we get bigger, because bigger is not necessarily better. This is our home, this is where our families are, this is where our friends are, and this is where we're going to stay. Offices, Jacksonville.
Another prescription, another surgery, here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmitt Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all-natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
How many floors does the world's tallest building have? The answer coming up.
Is your home your most valuable asset? It is for most of us. And Southern Oak Insurance recommends an annual review. Log on to southernoak.com for more information.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Burj Khalifa, which is the world's tallest building in Dubai at over 2,700 feet, has 163 floors.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Spring cleaning is upon us, and this is the perfect time to call Zero Res. Hicken here, and Zero Res can clean your carpets, area rugs, towel and grout, furniture, granite countertops, and even your air ducts. Remember, a clean home is a healthy home. At Zero Res, they just hit a new milestone. They now have more than 5,000 Google reviews. Go ahead and Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $147 or 2 rooms of tile clean for $147, or you can even do both.
Zero Res.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On April 12, 1965, the first NL game at Houston's Astrodome took place. Phillies beat the Astros 2-0, spoiling their debut at their new home.
When you buy a used Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury part from Rusty Acres, the part is guaranteed, and they'll guide you on how to install it at no charge. For used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury parts, call Rusty Acres at 786-1777.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Did the world open up, and now that event you thought was next year is actually next week? Visit hardballcreative.com for the newest promo items that will save your
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, Hacker After Dark with Ryan Green here with you, filling in this week for Rick Ballou. The NFL Draft now 2.5 weeks away. That is hard to believe. The Jaguars, of course, have the #1 pick in the draft. I love talking NFL Draft. I particularly love talking draft with my man Ryan Roberts, Rise and Draft. That's the letter N, riseanddraft.com. Ryan, how we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's everything on your end?
Ryan, we are good, buddy. Thank you for the time. And let's dive right into it. There's a lot of angles I want to talk to you about, but I saw your Twitter earlier, and it piqued my interest. All the talk about Trayvon Walker to the Jaguars at #1 from the University of Georgia. Your thoughts on that? Because that seems to be a rumor, Ryan, that's not going away.
No, it's really not. It's not. You know, I've talked a lot about. I've been told from a couple sources that #2 overall to the Detroit Lions is very real for Trayvon Walker over the past couple weeks. I've been told that the Houston Texans might also be a conversation piece for Trayvon Walker if he's able to land that far. But it certainly seems pretty solid and safe to say that Trayvon Walker is going to be a top 2 to 3 pick in this class. So if he's in that range, it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville ends up taking him if they are sitting there at 1. You know, I've talked a lot about this in the past. I think that Jacksonville is in a situation where they would probably love to trade back, but unfortunately when you're in a class that does not have a thoroughbred up top at quarterback where you're just very pleased with him taking him in the top 5, I think that they're just going to kind of be stuck a little bit to a degree. So I don't see what they have as far as like why this would be smoke. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, no, we need Trayvon Walker. We're going to, send multiple first round picks to trade up to 1 to get him. So I don't understand why this would be a smokescreen situation. So I think it's really, honestly, they're going to take whatever edge they want to in this situation. I think that a lot of people have kind of, coined it to Aiden Hutchinson, which I think it's still very possible. But I ultimately think it's going to be the conversation with Aiden Hutchinson has a much higher floor than Trayvon Walker, but Walker might have a higher ceiling, but his floor is obviously very substantially lower. So I think that it has heat. It has smoke. I think that this is a real situation. I think it's going to depend on whether Trent Baalke and the Jacksonville staff are comfortable taking that swing at the upside, or if they're going to take a guy like Aiden Hutchinson who they're just more comfortable with on the floor.
Ryan Roberts, riseanddraft.com, here with us on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. All right, Ryan, let's act like I'm in the 5th grade, and you're going to teach me all about the intricacies of the draft. Trayvon Walker, to me, was a mid to late first-round pick before the Combine. Is this as simple as he went nuts at the Combine, and that's why he's flown up the charts?
I mean, to a degree, yeah, I would think so, because I had heard that the NFL obviously was very high on Trayvon Walker, and I was in the same boat, Ryan, to be honest. Like, I was like, if we're talking mid-first round, we're talking late first round, I can get with taking 6'5", with 35-inch arms, 272 pounds, ran 4.51, 40-inch vert. Like, obviously, he's a tremendous and rare athlete. Like, it's not even that he was tested as a good athlete. He tested as one of the elite athletes we have ever seen at the position. Like, if you put his numbers next to Myles Garrett, they're at or better in pretty much every category. So, I mean, he's a freaky dude. There's no doubt about it. But I think that this is just the class this year, honestly, where you don't want the first overall selection. You just don't. This is the class this year where you want a lot of picks. You don't necessarily want the top of the first round type of picks, because I just don't think that it's a great class with elite talent near the top. So I think that people are willing to maybe take a gamble, because I will say this, from the defensive end edge position, traits do matter. They 100% do. And, you know, you see the best guys in the league. I mean, they're freaky dudes. Like, some of these guys just were not made on planet Earth. So it does definitely matter, but for sure he is riding the momentum of Trayvon Walker speaking, where he was liked in NFL circles and then he tested as a historically great athlete. So people are kind of falling in love with the upside.
Ryan, I love your website. I always tell people that. I always invite them to go to Wnba Draft. That's the letter N, Wnbadraft.com. I think you do a very good job. And because of that, I'm going to trust your opinion on this. Give me a compare and contrast for Jaguar fans. Aiden Hutchinson versus Trayvon Walker. Things you like, things you don't like, how similar are they? How would you compare the two?
Yeah, I don't think they're very similar at all, actually. I think they're like almost polar opposites as players, to be honest. I mean, if you're talking about Aiden Hutchinson, 6'6 plus, 260, 265, he's played near Michigan. They actually, a lot early in his career, they played him a little more inside to a degree. It's a 4-4-I and kind of used him as sometimes as a situational interior rusher. So I think that he gives you some versatility to play a little bit up and down the line of scrimmage. Ultimately, he's going to be outside as a defensive end the majority of the time. But I think that he has some versatility. He's got a tremendous first step. Like, that, one of the better first steps that I have scouted personally. He can put the offensive tackles in kind of a crisis mode early on in reps, because I don't think that this is a young man where I don't think that he's the most flexible. I don't think that he's, you know, got the greatest bend in the world, even though he ran a great three cone. Like, I just don't think that translates to film. So what he does as a pass rusher is he needs to threaten the outside track with his first step, his linear ability, and then he's shown the ability to work inside counters off of that outside track ability. So he's not going to be the most sexy, you know, outside track dude that's going to be able to bend the edge and kind of reduce angles a ton. He's a guy that's going to be, I'm going to make you overset, and I'm going to hit the inside moves. And as a run defender, I think he's solid. I don't think he's great, but I think he clearly understands how to you know, set the edge and work leverage in the run game. A little bit of shorter arms, but it doesn't really pop on film as much of a concern, to be honest. Trayvon Walker's a completely different dude, man. He is a long guy who gains extension in the run game, is incredibly violent. I would say in the run game specifically, Hutchinson is much more of a, I'm going to get in the right spot, right position type of player, while Walker's like, I'm going to impose my will on you in the run game a little bit. And since he played at the University of Georgia, they play a ton of three-man front, so he was asked to do a lot of things ultimately on the defensive line outside of just rushing the passer from the edge spot. You know, he was working as a two-gapping defensive tackle in a lot of senses. He was doing some 4-4-I, 5-tech. He was playing all over the place, and you don't really see the production from a pass rush perspective, because honestly, Georgia didn't use him in that role a ton. They would ask him, again, two-gap at the line of scrimmage, get off of blocks, and then use that linear explosion. So I think that he has some untapped ability in the pass game. He was in a scheme that just didn't ask him to do it a ton. But ultimately, it's just not tangible for a guy like a Trayvon Walker right now. He's an incredibly explosive linear athlete, but you just haven't seen his ability to bend that outside track. You haven't seen his ability to really win with finesse and nuance in the pass game. He is a clear projection, but the traits are silly. I mean, again, you just don't make guys this big and this athletic every year. I mean, he's an elite level athlete. So the upside is much higher than Aiden, but Aiden's floor is substantially a little better. I ultimately would love to, I mean, in a vacuum, I would rather have Trayvon just because I'm always going to kind of gamble on the traits. But I just would not be comfortable drafting either at number one, to be honest with you.
If it were up to you, if you were in that room and Trent Baalke said, all right, Ryan, who are we taking? Who would you take?
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Really?
I mean,
okay.
I've been pretty consistent with this, man. Like, I think there's just been some over-analyzation on Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon to a degree.
Let me stop you right there. Why, not to cut you off, I want you to expand on that. Why has he fallen?
It's very odd, to be honest. I mean, because, like, there are some things that you can point to and say, like, that's real, right? Because he has had some durability concerns to a degree. They had the haphazard Pac-12 season 2 years ago where he only played, I think, in like 4 football games. This year he was kind of dealing with a little bit of, you know, some minor injuries that I think cost him 1 or 2 football games. So, there has just been a little bit of limited play over the last 2 years. But from a physical perspective, I mean, the kid's a special athlete as well. I mean, he quietly ran in the 4.5s at 250-plus pounds. He's got 34-inch arms. He's incredibly explosive up the arc. He's got better bend than both Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker, in my opinion. Like, I think that this kid could be a legitimate outside track demon. Like, he reminds me a lot of Leonard Little that used to play with the Rams back in the day that came out of the University of Tennessee. So I think the upside is just tremendous. Why he's fallen, I think there's some things with like the durability to a degree, but this happens every year where you just hear about guys that are very open to the fact that, like, hey, I like other things outside of the game of football. I do. You know, I have a life. I mean, it happened when Myles Garrett was coming out. Everybody was like, oh, man, does this guy really love football? And that's ended up, just being fine. So I just think it's an overanalyzation. I think it happens every single year. Every time a player it talks and speaks and they don't 100% say, like, I am 100% football all day, every day. I think that some people just kind of, have pause for a second. But I think that people are just kind of missing the boat with Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he's the top 2 to 3 player in this class. And especially if you need a defensive end, I think he's the best one in this draft.
Final moments here with Ryan Roberts, riseanddraft.com. Is Evan Neal still in play, Ryan, at number 1 based on what you're hearing, or do you believe it's an edge guy for the Jaguars?
I think it's an edge. I would still be on Evan Neal personally because, again, like I mean, every time I've been on your show, it's just I would not sacrifice Cam Robinson on a franchise tag to make me feel that, like, I don't need to upgrade the offensive tackle position, especially if I think that Evan Neal is a rare guy, which I think he could be. I mean, because, again, you don't see 6'7", 337, 34-inch arms and the body type that he has. That they don't come around every couple of years. So I think that he's a really talented football player. I would want to upgrade offensive tackle because I mean, you drafted your quarterback last year, Trevor Lawrence. I want to continue to protect him at all costs necessary. And I know that you have Cam coming back for another year, but Cam wasn't very good last year. I mean, he hasn't been over the last couple of years. I know right tackle has just kind of been a mess with Jawan Taylor and trying to figure out that position too. So I would definitely consider drafting him, but from everything I'm hearing, I think it's kind of edge or nothing for Jacksonville.
Ryan, and I hope we'll do this one more time, maybe the week of the draft. It is getting pretty close to draft time, but at 33, that's almost as much talked about here in Jacksonville, believe it or not, as number 1 is. I've been on the wide receiver train at 33 forever, but then they go out and spend $100 million plus, and Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram at the tight end position. I mean, what do you think at 33? Are there potential inside linebacker candidates that could be available, interior offensive linemen, or say a guy like a George Pickens? What would you do if you were Jacksonville with that number 1 pick in the second round?
Yeah, I mean, I think wide receiver is one that I would still have on the table. Like you said, I know they spent a lot of money, but if a George Pickens was staring me at the face, I would definitely consider it. You mentioned linebacker. I think that you're going to have your pick at a couple of really talented linebackers. I mean, I think Leo Chenal from Wisconsin could be a guy that's on the board. And I think that he could be, honestly, a face of a defense moving forward. 6'3", nearly 250 pounds, 4'5" in the 40-inch vert. Really explosive. One of the best linebackers I've ever seen is from a run-stopping percentage perspective. And I think Nakobe Dean, maybe from Georgia, might sneak into there as well. So I think that improving the defense in some capacity would be a good spot, but I honestly would not count out wide receiver because even though they paid a lot of money, I'm still on the boat that, like, hey, man, we need to get as many weapons around Trevor Lawrence as possible. So I would definitely not discount that possibility.
All right, Ryan, we got about 60 seconds left. Tell the good folks here in Jacksonville what they can expect when they head over to your website, Rise and Draft, the letter N, riseanddraft.com.
Yeah, we try to make it a one-stop shop for all draft nerds and geeks out there like myself. We have the mock draft simulator on the site. We have a prospect database where you can find every prospect in this year's class. And if you want to kind of look forward to some prospect for next year's class, there's a lot of tabs in there that you can kind of sort them and see a lot of different type of prospects in that regard. We have podcasts, we have scouting reports, we have daily articles. We just try to have it pretty much you covered in any capacity for draft season. So it's I think it's a pretty good product. So I would definitely go take a look if you haven't.
Ryan Roberts, he's one of our draft guys, no question about it, here in Jacksonville, and he is with riseanddraft.com. Ryan, thank you for the time, man. Let's try to do it again right before the draft.
Yep, absolutely, man. Appreciate you as always.
Ryan Roberts, there you go. And boy, when I asked him, Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker, I did not expect him to say Kayvon Thibodeau. He doesn't want Hutchinson or Walker. He would still have Thibodeau as the top edge rusher. Remember Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon? Remember that guy? Probably most of you don't, because we haven't talked about him in months because he has fallen down the draft board for whatever reason. And boy, I was just really taken aback by that. I don't think the Jaguars are going to go that direction. There's at least one draft guy right there, Ryan Roberts, that still has Thibodeau above both Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. It is Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, filling in for Rick Ballou. Ballou back next week. I will be 10 to midnight following him next Tuesday evening. Coming up next, we'll shift gears into the world of college football. Saw a couple of things today that struck me. Number one was a ranking of the top 100 running backs in college football over the last 60 years. I will tell you who the number one Hurricane was on that list, the number one Seminole on that list, the number one Gator on that list. I don't need to tell you who the number one Bulldog was. You probably know that already. Gator fans, Seminole fans, Hurricane fans. I think you're going to find that interesting. We'll also talk a little Billy Napier, Orange and Blue game. 2 days away, inside of 48 hours, till the Orange and Blue spring game at the University of Florida. College ball next. Hacker After Dark rolls on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Thanks for making 1010XL a part of your life for the last 15 years.
The fact that someone gets in their car in the afternoon after a long day or making sales calls or doing whatever they did, and they turn us on, and we're a little bit of a respite as they drive home, man, that's cool.
Check out the 15th anniversary video series on YouTube, Facebook, and 1010XL.com.
Buying a car can be stressful, especially one sold as is or with no warranty. Do the 7, 10, or 30-day warranties leave you wondering what will happen on day 31?
Stop. Car buying doesn't need to be so stressful. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet now offer the exclusive Beaver Certified program protecting your used car for 7 years or 100,000 miles. That's right, certified Hondas, Fords, Nissans, and any other make you consider now come with the peace of mind you deserve. Shop worry-free at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville.
Hacker here for Blue Chew. Oh yeah, man, it's back, guys. It's all about confidence when it's time to have fun. You know I'm right. Sometimes stress, a bad day, or your age can affect your performance. Enter BlueChew.com to the rescue. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as both Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form. I hate swallowing pills. Chewable form is all right with me, and it's also at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable and help men combat all forms of ED. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so there's no doctor visits, no pharmacy visits, no awkward conversations. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with our licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll get a prescription in days. Try Blue Chew free. When you go to checkout, enter promo code HACKER. Promo code HACKER, BlueChew.com. Just pay $5 for shipping.
Hi, I'm Monique Madrid, the creator of LOL Jack's Film Festival. I'm thrilled to be a 40 Under 40 alumni. I can't wait to celebrate 2022's 40 Under 40 class. It's important we support our young leaders in Northeast Florida. I hope to see you at the 2022 40 Under 40 lunch on April 28th at the Hyatt Regency Riverfront. For tickets and details, visit jbjevents.com. That's jbjevents.com.
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy, high rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, a new bath, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it, got $200,000 out, added new hardwood floors, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa, and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto now. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover. Do it now. can skip your next house payment in the process. Call 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
If you want to work with new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound & Security is looking for you now. You'll start at $20 an hour or more, and you can qualify for a $1,000 signing bonus. Tired of that warehouse or food industry job? Try working for Tyson Sound & Security. They will train you. Apply online at tysonsoundandsecurity.com or call to apply 672-1000. Tyson Sound & Security is an equal opportunity employer. 672-1000.
Pick it here for my friends at Roof It Right. Are you having a problem with your roof? Well, you want the strongest building materials backed by the market's best warranties. You want Roof It Right. Listen, people, a roof in Florida, that's a big deal. I've been endorsing Roof It Right for years because they're the company I know and I trust. Call or schedule your estimate today at roofitRightFL.com. That's roofitRightFL.com. And see why your friends, your neighbors say, Roof It Right, so you can sleep at night.
The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL-FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Leon Searcy here. Longer days, warmer weather. This is the time of the year you need to be enjoying life without joint pain. Time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people here and all over America get real, lasting pain relief. They use highly concentrated, cutting-edge natural biological treatments that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue, getting to the root of the pain. It's life-changing. You can get back to moving like you used to, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. If you have nagging pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, and you're done with steroids and pain meds, call QC Kinetics. And if they're telling you surgery is your next option, don't do it. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and a free second opinion. Learn more about this amazing natural biological treatments. Enjoy this time of the year doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Cloud-based premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
1010XL salutes the High School Scholar Athlete of the Week. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
9 o'clock hour has arrived. It's Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Glad you're with us on a Tuesday evening. Former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor coming up in about 15 minutes or so. And Jazz Bond from the UNF women's basketball program drafted into the WNBA last night. That is an awesome accomplishment. She will join us towards the 9:30 mark here in the 9 o'clock hour as we will talk to her about what it's like to get drafted into professional basketball as she was one night ago. College football, spring games going on. In fact, Florida State ended their spring on Saturday. We talked about that last night with the retirement of Gene Deckerhoff. The Florida Gators will have their spring game on Thursday. I heard Lauren Brooks talking about that. The Frangie Show will be down there from 3 to 6 prior to the spring game. And then Billy Napier will get his guys on the field to conclude the first spring as head coach at the University of Florida. So I came across this today on ESPN.com. I love lists. All right, I'm a good list guy. I do enjoy them. And this list caught me because it was the top 100 college football running backs of the last 60 years. All right, top 100 college football running backs of the last 60 years. JJ LaSelva, you're a pretty big sports fan.
I would say that.
Let me ask you, just off the top of your head, I know I'm catching you kind of cold turkey. Give me a couple of guys that you think are in the top 5, top 10 of this list. Top 100 college football tailbacks of the last 6 decades.
Probably Archie, he won the Heisman twice.
Archie Griffin comes in at number 2.
Herschel
Walker, very good, comes in at number 3.
Maybe, who would be number 1?
Number 1 had a very, very good college career. He had a Hall of Fame NFL career.
Emmitt Smith?
That's close. Played for the Detroit Lions.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
Okay, he won the Heisman.
Yeah, let me give you the top 10. We'll go from 10 to 1. Again, top 100 college tailbacks of the last 6 decades, according to ESPN.com. Reggie Bush at 10, Earl Campbell at 9, Bo Jackson at 8, Mike Rozier, Nebraska at 7, Tony Dorsett at 6. Your top 5, the Juice, O.J. Simpson, Ricky Williams at 4, Herschel Walker at 3, Archie Griffin 2, and Barry Sanders comes in at number 1. It's hard to argue with any of that. Where I found a little bit of an argument is where I had to go to find the first either Hurricane, Seminole, or Gator. JJ, I was scrolling, and I see Melvin Gordon and Monty Ball of Wisconsin.
Whoa.
I see Darren Sproles of Kansas State. You see obviously some great players like Eric Dickerson too. There's Eric Bieniemy, Colorado. You keep going. Marshall Faulk, San Diego State. Michael James of Oregon. I still haven't gotten to a Hurricane, a Seminole, or a Gator yet. And I'm keep going. Derrick Henry comes in at number 33. And then finally, at number 48 on this list, for starters, there are not 47 running backs that are better than what the state of Florida has had in college football.
Emmett, Warwick, Dunn,
right.
McGahee, Portis.
It is a Miami guy, JJ. You are a Miami fan. Who do you believe they have as the top Miami running back of the last 60 years?
They might put Edge in there, but that would be the incorrect answer. I would say it. In college, we're talking, I would say probably Clinton Portis.
You say Clinton Portis. I'll tell you this. Edge is on the list. I didn't look for Portis, but it's Willis McGahee coming in at number 48. They have him as the top Miami tailback. Warwick Dunn at number 51 is the top Florida State running back. And then you got to go all the way up to number 66 on the list to find a Gator. And it's not Fred Taylor, and it's not Emmitt Smith. Eric Rhett, all-time leading rusher at the University of Florida. Damn good running back. No question about that. But again, I didn't have so much of a problem with Willis McGahee being the top Hurricane, with Warwick Dunn being the top Seminole, or with Eric Rhett being the top Gator. They found 47 running backs that they had ranked higher than anybody from the state of Florida over the last 60 years. I'm sorry, man. Call me a homer if you will. That's nonsense. That's ridiculous. Dalvin Cook also made the top 100. Seminole fans, I mentioned Edgerrin James made the top 100 as well. Emmitt Smith did make the top 100. I don't think Najee Harris from Alabama. In fact, I looked. I don't think I saw Fred Taylor on this list. That in and of itself is also pretty ridiculous.
LaMichael James.
In fairness, LaMichael James was really good at Oregon, but I'm sorry. I mean, LaMichael James is one thing, but you're going to tell me he was a better college tailback than Warwick Dunn or Willis McGahee or Edgerrin James or Emmitt Smith or Eric Rhett? I'm sorry. I don't believe that. But yeah, look, let the debate rage. I put it on Twitter. In the state of Florida, the best running back, I put Warwick Dunn, I put Willis McGahee, and I put Eric Rhett. And Rhett was a distant third. I don't think that's necessarily fair because I think Rhett was a fantastic running back at the University of Florida. There can only be one all-time leading rusher. They've had a lot of good running backs at Florida. Eric Rhett is that all-time leading rusher. But it was pretty a neck-and-neck tie between Warrick Dunn and Willis McGahee among those three. Other people were voting for Emmitt Smith, had a couple of Dalvin Cooks, had a couple of Clinton Portises. J.J. Miami is the team with the most All-American type running backs in the state over the last 60 years.
Frank Gore, haven't even mentioned him.
Who would be the Mount Rushmore of Hurricane running backs? Is it Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, and then
Edge maybe?
Edge would be the fourth.
There's got to be 80s guys that I wasn't around to see.
That's true, yeah.
McGahee, I'm looking at his stats right now because he was a backup for so long to Clinton Portis. McGahee really only started one season, but damn, what a season. 1,700 yards in only 13 games, 400 yards rushing, 28 touchdowns.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The fact that Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, Frank Gore, and Edgerrin James all went to the same school is just quite frankly nauseating.
And McGahee, Portis, and Frank Gore were on the same team at the same time.
That was the 2001 team that was maybe the best college football team ever assembled. Absolutely. So there you go. I thought that was interesting in that you had so many guys on this list, and you had to go down all the way to 47 before you found the first guy from the state of Florida.
Well, who's the Gator? Who's Gator fans' number one running back?
Because
Emmitt, it's hard to take out his NFL accomplishments and think about it just at Florida.
But I think it depends on the age of the Gator fan that you ask. Keep in mind, Florida was not really Florida when Emmitt Smith was there.
Right.
It was before Steve Spurrier. They struggled in Emmitt's years there. I would think Fred Taylor would be, in our market, probably the answer to that question. Eric Rhett, to me, was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But after those three, after Emmitt Smith, after Fred Taylor, and after Eric Rhett, in whatever order you want to put them in, you kind of go down a little bit. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of great running backs. Seatric was a 1,000-yard guy. Neil Anderson, better NFL player than college player. You had Michael Pirine, Deshaun Wynn, guys of that sort. But yeah, there's no question. If you want to compare running backs, running back you in the state of Florida, you go to Coral Gables. And it's not even close compared to what you got in Tallahassee and what you got in Gainesville. Speaking of what you got in Gainesville, you got a spring game on Thursday night. It looks like it's Anthony Richardson's job. Emory Jones in the transfer portal. I'll be very interested to see Jack Miller, see what he can do in the spring game. And I think you got to look at the skill position guys. Look, you've lost in the last couple of years Trevon Grimes, Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, Jacob Copeland has transferred out. Kamari Gamble has transferred out. What about Keon Zipperer at tight end? What about Xavier Henderson and Justin Shorter and Trent Whitmore at wide receiver? Do you have enough at wide receiver, at tight end? Yeah, running back, you should be solid. You should be really good. You got Naquan Wright. You got Lorenzo Lingard. You got DeMarcus Bowman. You got the transfer from Louisiana. You have Trevor Etienne coming in, Travis's little brother. There is still talent at Florida, but they've lost a lot of talent over the last 2 years. And boy, it is not an easy start. Utah and Kentucky right out of the gate. Keep in mind, South Florida and then Tennessee. It is a tough 4-game opening stretch for Billy Napier in year number 1. And I heard Mike Griffith. I'm going to try to get Mike Griffith on at some point, either this week or next. He was on Feinbaum earlier today. And Griff likes to stir up controversy. We've had him on. He's good buddies with Matt Hayes. We've had him on Prime Time back in the day. And he'll throw out opinions that aren't very popular among Gator fans. I don't necessarily think Mike Griffith is the biggest Florida supporter you're ever going to find. But he goes on Feinbaum earlier today, and he said that Tennessee in 2022 will be a bigger threat to Georgia than Florida will. Tennessee. will be a bigger threat to Georgia than Florida will. Of course, Mike Griffith does right for the AJC and for Dog Nation. I don't find that preposterous. I still think Florida's going to be better than Tennessee, but I got news for you. Florida's got to go to Neyland. You think those guys are going to be fired up in Knoxville for the Gators to come up there? That's either going to be a CBS 3:30 game or certainly a night game on ESPN. The Volunteer Navy, the Big Orange Nation, they are going to be ready for Florida come, the last week of September, first week of October. That is going to be a huge game for the Gators, particularly depending on what happens with that Utah game and with that Kentucky game to begin the 2022 season. Again, the Orange and Blue game Thursday. It'll be interesting to see some of the young guys out there as well and what they can do on Thursday night. Coming up next, Clay Harbor, former Jaguar tight end. We'll get back into the Jacksonville Jaguars. Clay Harbor has been around Jim Bob Cooter during his playing days. Clay Harbor has been around Doug Peterson when Doug Peterson was in Philadelphia. What does Clay Harbor, the former Jaguar, think about what's going on here in Jacksonville? His thoughts on Evan Ingram at the tight end position? That and a lot more with Clay Harbor next on Hacker After Dark.
The station with the best Jaguars coverage when Jag News breaks. Hear it first on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Malavia Washington Youth Foundation Spring for Hope Dinner is April 24th at the Florida Blue Campus. Learn how to sponsor or get tickets at malwashington.com.
The learning experience in Nocatee is raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the Jacksonville Sharks will donate $5 for every ticket sold. Learn more at jacksharks.com.
If your child is between 5 and 12 and would like to cheer or play tackle football in the Police Athletic League, signups are at jackspalsports.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hacker here for my friends at Xfinity. Look, your phone, your tablet, your laptop, they're always connected. So you need internet that can power a house full of devices. There's great news. The next generation of Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's only from Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Connect hundreds of devices at once and experience 3 times the bandwidth for more reliable connections. It's ultra fast and it's incredibly powerful. Learn more about Xfinity's next generation Wi-Fi or get started with Xfinity Internet with 50 megabit per second for $25 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. This terrific offer does require paperless billing and auto pay with a stored bank account. Offer expires April 28th. Restrictions apply. New Connect Internet customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra. Subject to change. Go to Xfinity.com or 1-800-XFINITY.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
My husband and I started a business together, and I had no idea where to start when it came to payroll. And a friend of mine recommended Patriot, and I have not looked back since. It was extremely user-friendly. I was actually able to understand it and run everything extremely well. And anytime I've had a question, they have been so quick to answer and help me. I definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking for a payroll software that is easy to use, user-friendly, and really offers everything that you need when it comes to something that's beneficial for your business.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Patriotsoftware.com. Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Listen to The Drill with Jeff and Dan for a chance for you and a guest to play in this year's Coastal Equipment Guggen Open Golf Tournament, April 18th at Hidden Hills Golf Club.
You heard about that?
You could win a Lucas Honda vehicle if you score a hole-in-one.
A hole-in-one?
Enjoy a Dandy Foods lunch.
Do I smell cookies?
Track your swing with a TrackMan from Coastal Indoor Golf.
Hey, so where do we tee off?
Enjoy cigars from Tobacco Cove. Thanks to our sponsors, Famous Automotive and Quick Lube, Edwin Watts Golf, Honest Abe Roofing, and Taco Lou.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods. The Thompson family kicking out quality, fresh, and delicious sandwiches every single day. Fresh, as in never frozen. So don't be fooled by signs or labels. Folks, when it comes to grab-and-go sandwiches, if it doesn't say Dandy on the front, it was made somewhere else, stored in a freezer for who knows how long, then shipped into town beside the chicken pot pie. Not exactly fresh. Why not make your next stop at Gate to taste real fresh quality and make yours a Dandy today?
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Back here on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Glad you are with us. The Jaguars are in to their off-season conditioning. Boy, the off-season went by really, really quick, and now here we are with the NFL Draft only a couple of weeks away. Clay Harbor knows all about off-season conditioning, and he knows about off-season conditioning under Doug Peterson, as he was a player when Doug Peterson was a coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. Clay Harbor, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Clay, thank you for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on. You know, I love talking Jaguars, special place in my heart over there in Duval. And I really like what I'm seeing with the team this year. So I'm excited to see the rest of the offseason and especially excited to see this draft.
Yeah, Clay Harbor was a former Jaguar tight end. Let's begin right there, Clay. I have not had the opportunity to speak with you since the $250 million spending spree the Jaguars did. Boy, they signed a lot of guys and gave a lot of guys big deals. What was your thought, before we get into individual guys, Clay, your thought on the overall free agent class?
You know, I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought there was a couple of overpays there, and then we had a couple interesting moves on my end. In the case of, say, you bring in a linebacker, you let a linebacker go with Miles Jack. You bring in a guard, and then you let a guard go in Norwell. So a lot of the things that we saw were a lot of exchanging, and I wanted to build a little more depth. Obviously, there's only a certain amount of allotment that you can have as far as free agency, as far as money's concerned. We bring in two primary slot guys. I know that Christian Kirk could play both, but I think that his primary position is a slot receiver. So I think that's interesting because we do need an outside receiver. And, overall, I like what we're doing. We're improving, but I thought there could have been some money better spent here. And I apologize if there's any noise here. I'm just finished training a client. I'm at my gym, but no spot that I won't talk Jaguars football.
No, you're all good, Clay. Again, we appreciate the time. And look, you carved out a nice little career for yourself at the tight end position. The Jaguars went out last year, traded for Dan Arnold. He came in when he was healthy, did a pretty good job. Now they go out and give Evan Ingram a one-year deal to bring him in, almost like a one-year prove-it deal. Clay, why do I think that combo, Evan Ingram and Dan Arnold, may surprise some people in a positive way this year?
Ingram wanted a one-year deal. I think the Jaguars wanted to sign him to a longer deal, but he wants a one-year deal. And what that tells me is that he wants to show that he can play and that he can be a high-priced tight end in this league. So he's ready to come in. He's ready to work. And I know he's had some drop issues. He's had some blocking issues, but I think he's a talented guy. Nobody can say he's not. I think he can be explosive. And obviously Dan Arnold was improving. He did some good things last year, and you put them both together. I think that's a pretty good duo. And you need two good tight ends and two tight ends with a different skill set. And I think Dan Arnold, I think he's a player that does complement Ingram well, and that they'll be a good combo for a tough combo for defenses to game plan for.
You played for Doug Peterson when he was an assistant in Philadelphia. You know how he likes the two tight end set. Am I imagining this, but do I see a little bit of what he's trying to do? Maybe a Dallas Goedert and Dan Arnold, maybe a Zach Ertz type in Evan Ingram. Do you think Doug Peterson's trying to form that sort of thing here in Jacksonville?
I think he is, and I think he can even. You might be. I'd be surprised if he doesn't bring in a late round tight end as well, another guy to compete there with Arnold. I think Ingram's pretty much slotted in there, but Doug loves tight ends. You go back to Andy Reid, who is a coach Doug learned under. Loves tight ends. Travis Kelce's had some good tight ends there in Kansas City. Obviously, Philadelphia. Brent Selleck had some good tight ends there. So they're both guys that like tight end. They know how important it is in the middle of the field for a quarterback to have a big target to throw the ball to, a guy to get first downs and move the chains. And to me, it seems like that's the directions he's heading. Obviously, Doug had Goddard and Ertz, and that's such an important position, especially to move the chains for a security blanket. And that's what he wants to do with Trevor, and I think he's done a good job. I think Ingram's a good signing, controversial signing. A lot of people have much different views on him, but I think he'll improve, and I think Doug did his homework and brought in a good player.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor here with us on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Clay, the Jaguars kind of got raked over the coals nationally for Christian Kirk's contract, maybe even a little bit for Zay Jones's contract. Look, if you're going to overpay guys, I'm okay with that. They needed to get playmakers in on this offense. I think they found a couple of playmakers. But what was your reaction, I guess, to those two signings, combining them with the fact that DJ Chark they let walk?
It's a little bit of, I like it and I don't. I like the fact that they brought in a couple of playmakers. Like I said, these are guys that can attack the middle of the field, that line up in the slot. Interesting part is if they're going to bring in two receivers, I wanted to see a, primarily Z or X, outside receiver instead of a guy that is more productive in the slot. And obviously, both these guys can play outside, but they're better, and they've shown that they're better when they're inside. So I would assume that they're going to put them in a position they're most comfortable and can be most productive in. And I know there's been a lot of talk if the Jags are going to draft a wide receiver, maybe second, third, fourth round, somewhere there you can find some good value. But I still think I like Marvin Jones. I know you got Jim Bob Cooter on the coaching staff. I played with him in Detroit when he was my offensive coordinator, and Marvin Jones is the wide receiver. Marvin's still got some juice. The guy can go up and get the ball. He can stretch a defense. So I think maybe this means that they're putting a lot into Marvin. They know that he can be a big play guy. But I like the moves. Obviously, you want to save some money there, but I think both guys were highly coveted, and that's there's a reason for that, because they're guys who've made some big plays in this league.
Clay, it's odd. Laviska Shenault's had 121 catches in 2 years, but people are wondering if he's even going to make the roster here in 2022. What do you make of Shenault, and is he salvageable here in Jacksonville at this point?
Shenault, it's not looking good for him, in my opinion. Obviously, you got, like I said, you got those three guys coming up. You got Evan Ingram, who's also going to be getting some time on the field. But he does have a low cap hit, so I think he might be just a depth guy for give somebody a break, give somebody a blow here or there. He might not be happy, but I think he'll have a job. Struggled with some drops. He tried to play outside last year, and I think he showed that he's really not an outside wide receiver. He's a slot guy. And I think he's going to need to improve and improve himself all over again with his coaching staff. But if he plays well, I think his career does have a lot of upside there. He's a talented guy. I love his run after catch. And he has shown that he can play in this league. So be a good year for him. He won't be a primary guy, but I think he'll be on the roster and get a couple looks here and there.
Clay, understanding, and Clay Harbor here with us, former Jaguar tight end. I'm not asking for your professional medical opinion, but what you are is a former NFL player who has kept yourself in fantastic shape, and now you train athletes for a living. So you're kind of a guy that I think would have an answer to this. Is there a concern for you, Travis Etienne coming off of Liz Frank, James Robinson with an Achilles? I mean, your expectation for those guys, particularly Robinson, who got hurt late in the year with that Achilles.
Absolutely. I mean, both of them are just bad injuries, especially for running back, a guy that needs to be 100%. He needs to be 100% confident in his change of direction, his change of speed, and his feet. His feet are the main, ingredient in a good running back. So for me, I think that's pretty huge and pretty telling if a guy's having struggles with his injuries like that. So I do think that's a problem. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars must add a running back in the late rounds of the draft. I think they got to find a guy, and there's some good depth there. The 4th, 5th round, you can see, Dalvin Cook's brother. You got some good players down there. But to me, on Twitter, I like talking Jags football, and every time I say something about a running back, people say, "Hey, we got Robinson, we got Etienne." These guys are coming off of serious injuries. We don't know when they're going to be ready, when they're going to be healthy, and when they're going to be able to take all those touches and all those snaps. So we definitely need to look later in the draft for a good running back.
Final moments here with former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor. Clay, like we said, the Jaguars began their offseason conditioning this week. It's Doug Peterson's first offseason conditioning here in year number 1 in Jacksonville. What can players expect from him as he sets the tone for what lies ahead?
Well, it's going to be an interesting. They're used to it. They had to install a new offense last year, a new defense. So we got 2 new systems coming in. So the hard part is going to be learning these new systems and doing things differently. You're starting from day one. You're starting from scratch. You don't know what to expect. Doug's the guy who's going to challenge you in the weight room. He's going to challenge you on the field. You're going to get a chance to run around and see what he's going to want to see what everybody's got. But the main thing is going to be learning the offense and learning exactly how to play this system. So it's going to be an important time. This is where the foundation gets laid. Early days of OTAs, early days of off-season OTAs, moving into training camp so you can hit the ground running in training camp when you really find out what your team's about leading into a season. So important time, and Doug's a big weight room guy. He's going to train them. Their conditioning is going to be tested. So I think you'll start to see some interesting things happening in the fall.
Former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Clay, always enjoy the conversation, my friend. Let's do it again after the draft. We'll review what the Jaguars did in about a month or so.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Thanks, Ryan.
Clay Harbor here with us on Hacker After Dark. Yeah, good dude, man. Really enjoyed talking with Clay Harbor. And I think he had some good insight, too. A guy that's worked and played with Jim Bob Cooter and Doug Peterson. He certainly knows about this Jaguar offensive staff and what they're going to try to put together here in Jacksonville, beginning right now. As again, the offseason program has begun, and they will be on the field. The first OTAs on the field are scheduled for the end of next month. The NBA playoffs underway. Brooklyn and Cleveland in the play-in tournament. Brooklyn wins. Brooklyn clinches the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. How about if you're the Boston Celtics? You play 82 games in the regular season. You fight, you scratch, you claw to get the number 2 seed in your conference. And your reward is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the 2-7 matchup. Yikes. We'll see what happens there. Cleveland will have one more game. They will now get the winner of Atlanta and Charlotte. And that team will get the 8 seed. That'll be in a couple of days at 9:30 right about now. Minnesota and the Clippers in the Western Conference. The winner of that game becomes the 7 seed. The loser of that game will have to play again to try to make the postseason. Complicating, yes. I kind of like the play-in tournament in certain aspects, although I do feel if you're Minnesota and you're 11 games above 500 and you're in the same tournament with 2 teams that are 10 games below 500, you got to kind of look around and say, what are we doing? We'll see what happens. Hopefully Minnesota wins tonight, and that story becomes a non-issue. Coming up next, back end to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Travis Etienne had some very interesting comments today. If you missed those, we will get into those. And a very, very cool story here locally. The University of North Florida women's basketball program, Jazz Bond, drafted into the WNBA one night ago. Jazz will join us here within the next 10 minutes or so to talk about what it was like to get drafted in the WNBA draft last evening. With JJ LaSelva, I'm the Hacker Ryan Green, Jacksonville. Thank you for being with us on a Tuesday night here on Hacker After Dark.
1010XL brings the swamp to the First Coast.
Get your first glimpse of the Billy Napier era as the Gators go under the lights for the annual Orange and Blue game, Thursday at 7:30
on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL AM.
Attention all current lease owners. Before you turn in your vehicle, come get a free appraisal and equity evaluation at Key Buick GMC. Key can pay off your lease early. Do not wait. Now is the time to go to Key Buick GMC. They are currently buying all makes and models. The market conditions are increasing the value of your vehicle each and every day, so come see what your car is worth. Ask for Derek or Steve. That's Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Across the street from Tinseltown, South Side and Gate, or go to KeyBuickGMC.com.
Oh, crap.
What?
Crap!
Crap?
Yes, crap! Literally!
Come again?
The toilet's backing up!
Oh, crap!
While a situation like this may be the first time you meet Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services, know that we also handle leaks, pipe bursts, any kind of plumbing issue.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Are you at a dead end when it comes to dealing with that awful joint pain? So was Rick Rawlings.
I did a year and a half of steroidal injections in my shoulders, both shoulders. They weren't helping at all, and it was just a Band-Aid.
As for the constant pain medication prescriptions,
I didn't get any relief. I didn't get any sleep, so I just stopped taking them. I didn't want to get hooked on drugs.
But one day,
I heard a commercial on the radio about QC Kinetics.
Rick called QC Kinetics and learned all about natural biologic therapies, non-surgical treatments that actually help the body restore damaged joint tissue. And it was life-changing.
After doing the QC Kinetics, I feel like I have a new life again. Today, my shoulders feel wonderful. My only regret was I wish I had done it sooner.
From dead ends to new beginnings. Call today and learn about QC Kinetics' long-lasting relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
Prosser here. There are some great reasons to play in this year's Beaches Habitat for Humanity Builders Classic Golf Tournament. It's presented by Larry and Nancy Wong at Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club, May 9th. How about a chance to shoot for $1 million? Hole-in-one contest for a vehicle from Nimnick Buick GMC. A 3-year lease on a Fields Automotive Land Rover Defender and a Pebble Beach golf trip for 2. Learn more at buildersclassic2022.com.
Hey folks, it's Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Now you probably heard me mention that errant golf ball that led us to replace our windows. And obviously, if I'm investing in my home's appearance and comfort, I want the best. Well, now my new Pella windows are installed and they look fantastic. And we've already noticed the difference in outside noise reduction and energy savings. So if you need to replace your windows or doors, visit my friends at the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of cleanout at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
This is Brandon with North Florida Epoxy Floors. Our product gives you a custom high-quality appearance and the longest-lasting finish at a more affordable price. So for your garage, home, or business, research the difference between 100% solids epoxy and the products like polyurea, which can be kinda fishy. Our epoxy includes a moisture vapor barrier, essential in Florida, so your North Florida epoxy floor looks great and is warranted with no fine print. Get a free estimate at NorthFloridaEpoxyFloors.com.
Catch more fish with Captain Kevin.
Cast your line right over there.
The Moe's Southwest Grill Fishing Forecast.
Brought to you by
North Florida Sheet Metal Workers Local 435 Joint Apprenticeship Committee. Thursdays at 6 p.m. on 1010XL AM.
Any adventure, any task, anytime. There's a CF Moto Utility ATV or UTV for any rider. See the full lineup at Ride Now Beach Boulevard. Adventure seekers can start with the trail-tested capability and comfort of the C-Force lineup. For the ultimate in UTV performance, check out the Z-Force 950. Find your utility ATV at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or online at cfmotousa.com. ATVs are recommended for the use only by riders age 16 years and older. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends approved training course for safety and training information.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and do you store your boat and boat trailer separately? If so, I want to tell you about Stack 'em Storage. They store your boat trailer in a secure warehouse out of the elements, and here's the cool thing. Stack 'em Storage will pick up your trailer from you, store it in a secure warehouse, do a 5-point inspection, and deliver it back to you where and when you need it. Call Captain Pat at 962-9605. Use code FAVOR, that's FAVER, and get a $50 gift card to Strike Zone. Visit stackmstorage.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Nah, definitely. That's just the human element of it. Just seeing the results, you definitely like, whew. If there was any year to miss, I missed a great one. So.
Boy, Travis Etienne today holding court down at the Jaguar press conference. He addressed the media along with Trevor Lawrence and Shaquille Griffin. And Travis Etienne, if there was a year to miss, last year was a great one. He's right. It was a disaster in pretty much every sense of the word with Urban Meyer and everything that transpired here in 2021. And to me, Travis Etienne is one of the more interesting stories moving forward into 2022. Like we talked about earlier, we're talking about Christian Kirk, and we're talking about Zay Jones and Evan Ingram. And can Marvin Jones do what he did last year? What about Laviska Shenault? All of these different guys. But what about Travis Etienne? A first-round draft pick. You know, it's the second time. When Etienne got hurt last year in the preseason, you want to talk about a snake-bit franchise. It was the second time in 7 years that the Jaguars lost a first-round draft pick before their rookie season even started. Dante Fowler in 2015, Travis Etienne in 2022. Dante Fowler never really recovered. If you'll remember, I think he had 4 sacks his second year. His third year was the best year in a Jaguar uniform. He had 8 sacks in the regular season, a couple of sacks in the playoffs. Then he was okay in year 4, and he was gone. I hope that's not the fate of Travis Etienne. I don't believe it will be. But you do have to wonder how a guy will respond to an injury like that. You could argue Fowler never really recovered from the torn ACL here in Jacksonville and the setback of losing his rookie year. How will Travis Etienne respond to losing his rookie year to Liz Frank? And will that recovery be good? Will he be the same caliber athlete that he was at Clemson before the injury? Shaq Griffin met the media as well. We mentioned this earlier this week. Usually the people they put in front of the podium, they put in front of the media on day one, kind of the leaders of the football team, right? Well, you look on that defense here in Jacksonville. There is no more Miles Jack. It is probably either Josh Allen or Shaq Griffin, which is pretty amazing, seeing as how Shaq Griffin's only been here for about a calendar year. He's only played 1 season in a Jaguar uniform, and yet clearly he is one of the defensive leaders of the team. You look at the inside linebacker position. The longest tenured Jaguar at inside linebacker is Shaq Quarterman. That's insane to me that he is the longest tenured inside linebacker. But it's where they are at that position. You want to talk about an absolute changing of the guard. You bring in all those free agents, but you sent Miles Jack packing. You let DJ Chark walk to Detroit on a 1-year deal, and Brandon Linder retires. Combine that with Andrew Norwell, with A.J. Cann, with Taven Bryan. Say what you will about Taven Bryan, he was at least here for 4 seasons. You lost a lot of veteran guys in that locker room with the losses of Bryan, Norwell, Can, Linder, Chark, and Jack. And I'm curious to see who some of the new guys are, some of the new blood in that Jaguar locker room that will step in to a leadership role, because certainly they need it. Look, Jaguars have been a very bad franchise, a very bad organization, a very bad football team. At this point, anything different would probably be good. And there is going to be a lot of different. All the free agents they brought in, all the guys they let walk, they got 12 draft picks in 2 weeks. 12. Are 12 rookies actually going to make this team? I would hope they're going to package a couple of those late to, middle to late round picks to move up in the draft. I just can't see for the life of me 12 rookies being drafted by Jacksonville and all 12 making this roster. That will certainly be something to follow. Something that was being followed last night was the Wnba Draft. For the first time in the history of the UNF women's basketball program, they had a player drafted in the Wnba Draft. That's a cool moment. I'm a UNF alum. I took notice of this last night. I had the opportunity earlier today to get in touch with Jazz Bond, who was that player that was drafted by the Dallas Wings of the Wnba Draft. And Jazz and I talked about her reaction last night, about what's next for her. Get a load of this. Wait till you hear this. In the NFL Draft, you get drafted in April. The season's in September. The NBA Draft, you get drafted in June. The season's in October. If you get drafted to the WNBA, you start training camp next week. It's absolutely insane. I think you'll enjoy the conversation. UNF. The Ospreys were proud last night. Jazz Bond, one of their own, drafted in the WNBA. Here's that conversation right now on Hacker After Dark. Welcome back to Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. What an evening last night was here in the city of Jacksonville as the first UNF women's basketball player gets drafted in to the WNBA. Her name is Jazz Bond. She is on her way to the Dallas Wings, and she joins us here on 1010XL. Jazz, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Jazz, there's not a lot of people that get drafted into professional sports. You got drafted into professional sports last night. Take us through that moment. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, so I just feel so blessed right now. It was a very surreal moment. It allowed me to, just go through the time where I first started playing basketball when at the age of 4 years old, when I first started playing in the rec league, and just going through all the adversity I went through. And of course, all the highs and the lows, how appreciative I am of those in order to be where I am, today. It was a great moment.
Did you have any idea that Dallas was interested? How does that process work? Did you have an inkling into that?
Yeah, so I actually had an interview with Dallas last week. So I knew that they were interested in me, but of course I didn't know if whether or not I'd be drafted or not.
I'm a UNF alum as well. Again, Jazz Bond here with us, the first women's basketball player from UNF to get drafted into the WNBA. I'm a UNF alum myself, and I think that's a cool story. There can only be one first. And I know it just happened last night, but you think of all the women that have played basketball at that university over the past, however many decades, and you're the first one to get drafted into the WNBA. I mean, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's just, it honestly feels like a dream come true. Still, just even you saying that, my body got chills, and it feels like I'm living in a dream, and I just need somebody to pinch me so that I can wake up. But it also, it allows other people to see that no matter if you go to a mid-major, Power 5, no matter what school you go to, there's still possibilities out there for you to get drafted as long as you continue to work hard and stay true to the process. So it doesn't matter where you end up as long as you stay dedicated during the process of all the highs and the lows.
That's right. If you're talented, they will find you. There is no question about that. A couple more for Jazz Bond, formerly of UNF, now on her way to the WNBA to join the Dallas Wings. Jazz, for people that haven't seen your game, I was reading through your bio. You were a defensive force, ASUN Defensive Player of the Year twice in your tenure at UNF. You're the all-time leader at UNF in block shots, rebounds, made free throws. I mean, defense is a big, big part of what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, so, that defense, they say defense wins games, and, that's the truth. Of course, you need to put the ball in the basket, but at the end of the day, you need to get stops on the defensive end. And with that, my versatility and my length really helps me on the defensive end. And when it comes to defense, it's just all about energy, something you can't really coach. And I really take pride in, doing the little things.
When you were growing up, I mean, the WNBA has been around for 20, 25 plus years, so I'm sure you watched it when you were growing up. When did you have the idea that, you know what, I'm pretty good at this game of basketball. Maybe that can be me one day. Was there a moment when you thought, maybe I can do this?
Yeah, so of course I've always had that dream. There wasn't a moment where I'm like, oh no, I'll never go to the WNBA. So it's always been a dream of mine. But as you said, where it was like a flip of the switch, probably when I transferred to North Florida and I started loving the game again. Of course, there's, like I said before, there's highs and lows. I went through a lot of adversity, and I started learning more about my game and developing myself, and then that's when it all clicked. It all clicked with me.
As we begin to wrap up here with you, Jazz, you mentioned when you transferred in to North Florida. Just talk about the UNF Ospreys, the program, the university, what UNF means to you.
Yeah, so, as soon as I stepped foot on campus, it was a family environment. No matter who, whether it be professors, people that work in administration, they're always, hey, how you doing? How's your day been? And that's one thing that really brought me to UNF is the family environment. And, of course, being surrounded by great teammates and great coaches, it's been a true blessing to be at the University of North Florida.
Now, Jazz, for people that don't know, the WNBA draft is not like necessarily the NBA draft or the NFL draft. You don't have a lot of time before you're going to start competing. I mean, the WNBA season gets underway here relatively quickly. For someone that just got drafted last night, what are the next couple of days and weeks for you like? When do you get out to Dallas?
Yeah, so I actually leave on Thursday of this week and start training camp on Sunday.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. So you get drafted on Monday and you are in training camp less than a week later. That well, that's something. That's a whirlwind for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're certainly going to be rooting for you. Finally, as we wrap up, just a message to the city of Jacksonville. Again, I think it's a cool deal, a great local story that one of our own from UNF on her way to the WNBA. What do you have to say to the folks of Jacksonville that are listening to this?
Thanks for all the support. And it's just a blessing to be part of this city, and make sure to support me in Dallas.
Jazz Bond from the UNF Ospreys, drafted last night, on her way to Dallas to become a Dallas Wing in the WNBA. Jazz, we'll be watching. Best of luck moving forward, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Again, cool story. UNF, first woman they've had from their basketball program to be drafted into the WNBA. And I just couldn't believe when Jazz told me that. She's drafted on a Monday night. Training camp starts on Sunday. Has less than a week in between the draft and when she has to compete for a roster spot. So there you go. NBA playoffs going on right now. We told you earlier, Brooklyn defeats Cleveland. Brooklyn now the 7th seed in the East. They will play Boston Cleveland has to wait until tomorrow to find out who they are going to play in a win or go home scenario. The Western Conference going on right now, their first play-in game. You got Minnesota and the Clippers. The winner of this game is the 7 seed. The loser of this game will likewise have to wait and see who they play in a win or go home scenario. JJ LaSilva, you are about as big of an NBA fan as I know. Probably the biggest NBA fan in this building, which is saying a lot because I love the league, but I think you love it even more than I do. Do you like the play-in tournament or?
Hate it.
Yeah, I don't like the Western Conference part of it. The Eastern Conference I'm okay with because all 4 of those teams were competitive. I don't know where I would land on it, but Adam Silver, the commissioner, says it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay.
He got really lucky by the first season of its existence having LeBron versus Steph.
Yeah, that's right.
And if it wasn't for that, I don't know if it would have stuck. It was sort of like a, hey, this is the season after COVID. Let's do something fun and interesting. And now it's here to stay.
Yeah.
And I feel for teams like Minnesota who have such a better record. You know, Minnesota's worked so hard to finally get into the playoffs, which they never make, and then they still have to play in this tournament.
I get it, man. Dollars make sense.
Exactly.
Advertising revenue, TV revenue.
We're watching it right now.
Right. It makes the world go round. So I'm not going to fault any company or any organization for making money, but it is a shame for a team like Minnesota that they got to be a part of this, even though they're 11 games over 500. Clearly a better record than all the other teams in this play-in tournament, but they now have to win their way in. That'll do it for this edition of Hacker After Dark, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I'm in for Rick Ballou all week. Back tomorrow at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. How about Marcus Stroud, former Georgia Bulldog, former Jacksonville Jaguar? He will join the program tomorrow. I believe we might hear from Mike Hollis tomorrow as well. A lot of former Jaguars will be with us tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. Go get a little bit of a rest because at 6 a.m., Jeff Prosser will be in this studio, and we will begin 16 hours of local programming right here on the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. For JJ LaSilva, I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. Jacksonville, have a terrific evening, and we will do it all over again tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
Here at Citrus Distillers, we're ready to pour one out in honor of the 904. After all, Jacksonville is bold, robust, full of distinct flavors that describe exactly why we're Duval till we die. And that's why Citrus Distillers, your local whiskey king, is proud to announce our official sponsorship of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So come visit us at the bar at ViStar Arena. With your local whiskey king, it's 904 till you hit the floor.
Hacker here for Blue Chew. Guys, it's all about confidence when it's time to have fun. Sometimes stress, a bad day, look, even your age can affect performance. BlueChew.com to the rescue. Here's what Blue Chew is. It's a unique online service. They deliver the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but they're in chewable form, and they cost a fraction of what the other guys do. Blue Chew tablets are chewable and help men combat all forms of ED. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, which I love. There's no trips to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and you don't even have to wait in line at any pharmacy. That's because after you sign up at BlueChew.com and you consult with one of their licensed medical providers and get approved, you'll get your prescriptions in just days sent directly to your house. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code HACKER at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. Guys, trust me. Go to BlueChew.com. Enter promo code HACKER to get your first month free